Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to cut through the noise and get straight to the insights.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of noise these days.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you feel like the world of artificial intelligence is just moving at this dizzying, head-spinning pace, well, you're definitely not alone. It feels like every single day there's a new headline, a new tool, maybe a new breakthrough. It's a lot.
It is a lot. The sheer volume is kind of overwhelming, which is, I think, exactly why we're doing this today.
That's right. Our mission here is really to cut through all that noise for you. We've pulled together a whole stack of recent sources, articles, research updates, industry news, and the goal is to pull out the really important nuggets. We want to give you a clearer, more concise understanding of this latest wave of AI stuff. So we're talking groundbreaking models, new tools, shifts in the market, and of course those critical ethical questions that keep popping up.
Yeah, trying to make sense of what's actually changing, why it matters to you, and maybe what you should keep an eye on going forward.
Exactly. Okay, so let's dive in. Let's unpack this a bit. The foundational bits of AI, right? The actual models powering these systems, how they're built. It's all evolving incredibly fast. It's like the core engine driving everything else.
It really is. And what's so fascinating, I think, is how these underlying improvements are enabling everything else we're seeing. It's not just like better performance, but complete new things these systems can do. Things that were, frankly, hard to imagine even a year or two ago.
It's pretty wild.
Really?
On the large language model front, we're seeing some really interesting challengers pop up. DeepSeek, for example. Yeah. They've put out a major base model with an MIT license. That feels like a big signal, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. Some folks are calling it a new era for permissive large models. That MIT license is key for openness.
Right. And their DeepSeek v3.1, it's apparently topping some non-TTC coding leaderboards. Reports say it's even nudging past Claude 4 Opus on Aider Polyglot.
And it's cost efficient too, which is always a factor. Non-TPC, just for clarity, that means leaderboards looking purely at coding skill. No fancy test time computation tricks.
Good point. That permissive license really could be a game changer for open innovation, like you said. But, okay, while DeepSeek's making waves in open source, the big players aren't exactly resting, are they?
Not at all. We're getting the first glimpses of GPT-5. Early reports, they suggest it's roughly on par with GPT-4o and Gemini 2.5 Flash, but mainly in what they call minimal thinking settings.
Meaning tasks that don't need super deep reasoning?
Exactly. Quick answers, straightforward stuff. But it is setting new records in spatial intelligence, which is interesting. Still lags behind us humans, though, especially with things like occlusion, hidden objects, and tricky perspective tasks.
Okay, got it. And speaking of OpenAI, they made a pretty significant move themselves, didn't they, launching GPT-S?
Yeah, their first open-weight LLM. That's huge.
Why is it so huge?
Well, it means researchers can really get under the hood, customize it, even run it offline. That directly challenges some leading models, particularly out of China, and it gives a real boost to open-source innovation globally, especially for reasoning tasks.
Look, we've currently seen big quality jumps in those GPT OSS models after they fixed some bugs. And ByteDance teased their Cedo SS36B model, too. So that open source race is definitely heating up.
It really is. And it's not just the models themselves. We're seeing major progress in how AI agents are standardized and developed.
Agents, meaning the AIs that can perform tasks.
Right. There's been a big protocol milestone, a new vendor-neutral coding agent protocol. It's centered around a simple markdown spec for telling the agent what to do with the code base.
Vendor-neutral is important.
Very. And it's already getting picked up by companies like Cursor, AMP, Jules, Factory, RooCode, Codex, quite a list. Plus, there's a new working group with Factory AI and OpenAI involved. It signals a real push for interoperability, getting these agents to work together better.
That standardization push makes sense. And it's happening alongside just an explosion of new tools for building these agents.
Totally. Like Cartesia's line, it's a code-first platform, lets you spin up scalable voice agents super fast. They cold start in seconds, can even answer research questions using the user's own voice, apparently.
Wow. Okay.
Then there's Sim, which is open source, more visual, like a canvas for building workflows with multiple LLMs. Catnip lets you run Claude agents in containers. There's a new multi-agent voice toolkit with fancy features like background retrieval and reasoning.
So many tools.
And Deep Agents. That one coordinates sub-agents and file systems to do automated multi-step research, available in TypeScript and Python.
It feels like we're building the infrastructure for more complex AI interactions.
Exactly. And speaking of connections, the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, just dropped its documentation. The idea is to simplify connecting AI apps to tools, databases, services, basically a unified way to plug things in.
Which leads to a really interesting question, doesn't it? Even with super powerful models like, say, Claude 4, do you still need these kinds of protocol layers like MCP, to enforce reliable golden paths for complex jobs, especially as agents go into production and things get messy?
That's a great question. Why would you need guardrails for such a powerful engine, right?
Yeah. Is it about just making sure it's consistent? Or handling weird edge cases? Or maybe it's more about, like, compliance or safety when these things are doing important stuff?
I think it's all of the above, really. Think about it like a high-performance race car. It's incredibly powerful, but it still needs a racetrack, rules of the road, right, to perform safely and predictably.
Okay, I see.
These protocols are like those tracks. They set boundaries, make sure the agent operates within defined parameters. That's crucial when you're dealing with sensitive data or doing mission-critical tasks where you absolutely need things to be predictable and reliable.
That analogy makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And of course, holding all this up is the progress in the underlying infrastructure and how these things are trained.
Right. Constant improvements there. Cursor, for instance, reported a big speedup 3.5x faster for their MoE layers, which meant 1.5x faster training overall, just by rewriting an MXFP8 kernel.
Which, for folks not deep in the weeds, basically means optimizing the engine parts for much faster training. Paves the way for even bigger models down the line.
Exactly. And we're seeing multi-nodes serving for trillion parameter models like Kimi K2 actually going live now, using tech like vLLM and SkyPilot to handle those massive computational needs.
And Hugging Face is still right in the middle of it all.
Oh, absolutely. They partnered with E2B for AI infra, cracked GitHub's all-time top 10 orgs. Their open model router alone is doing over 20 million inferences a month. Just shows the scale they're operating at.
And for the real pioneers building these things, resources like the updated JAX TPU book are diving deep into GPUs, interconnects, really the bleeding edge of training infra.
Yeah, the tools and knowledge are constantly advancing.
Okay, so this is where it gets, I think, really interesting for most people. These leaps in tech, they aren't just theory anymore, are they? They're genuinely changing how we work, how we learn, create, even how we manage our health.
That's the crucial connection, isn't it? We're seeing AI move out of niche labs and specialized tools and become truly integrated into solutions across almost every sector. It's bringing incredible efficiencies, sure, but also totally new kinds of experiences.
So with all these foundational pieces moving so quickly, where are we actually seeing the impact right now? I mean, for many of us, it's hitting our daily work lives first, right?
Definitely. Look at coding and development. GitHub Copilot just got a new panel. You can basically delegate coding tasks straight from a GitHub page. It'll make code changes on its own, even get pull requests ready.
Wow. And Google's Gemini app, it can now supposedly take a photo of a sketch, you give it a short description, and boom, working code prototype.
That's a massive shortcut from idea to something tangible. Huge.
And then there's dealing with all our data and documents.
Yeah, tools like LlamaCloud have this agentic mode now. It can look at diagrams, flowcharts, and turn them into Mermaid text. That's a format models can understand and reason about. It makes visual info useful for the AI.
Okay.
And LlamaParse added pipelines that can pull structured knowledge graphs out of messy PDFs, even legal docs. Imagine making sense of huge piles of unstructured text automatically.
That's powerful. Adobe's getting in on this too, right? Acrobat Studio.
Right. Fusing Acrobat, Express, and AI assistants together. The idea is to turn static PDFs into these interactive knowledge hubs.
Making information smarter, more usable, and for broader business operations.
Big moves there. Oracle's embedding OpenAI's GPT-5 into its big software suites. Fusion Cloud applications, NetSuite, their industry applications. Yeah. They're also deepening their AI partnership with Google Cloud.
And the goal there is?
Supercharging enterprise stuff.
Oh.
Think more automation, faster coding for internal tools, better analytics for decision-making. They're promising streamlined workflows, accelerated development, the usual enterprise benefits, but hopefully amplified by AI.
But here's a really surprising bit. Maybe a contrast to that top-down corporate strategy, that MIT study.
Ah, yes. The shadow AI economy. Quite fascinating.
It found that over 90% of employees are using tools like ChatGPT at work, but most aren't telling their IT departments.
Which suggests employee needs, or maybe just curiosity and convenience, are way ahead of official corporate adoption plans. People are just using what works for them.
That's a really interesting dynamic. It feels like a wake-up call for companies to figure out how their people are already using this stuff.
Definitely. And speaking of high stakes, the advances in healthcare are just profound.
Yeah. Like what?
Well, Microsoft and Epic are partnering up. They're deploying AI-powered medical scribes. The aim is to streamline all that clinical documentation, which hopefully reduces doctor burnout and maybe even improves patient care.
That makes sense. Doctors spend so much time on paperwork.
Exactly. Epic also launched its own generative AI features for automating medical documentation and even revenue management stuff.
And it's not just clinics on Earth, right? You mentioned NASA.
Yeah. NASA and Google launched an AI medical assistant for astronauts. It's designed to diagnose and treat health issues autonomously, even if there are long communication delays back to Earth. Think moon missions, Mars missions. That's a huge safety boost for the crew.
Wow. That's literally out of this world.
And back on the ground, pharma companies are using AI platforms to find and take down millions of listings for counterfeit drugs online. A big win for patient safety.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay, what about education? AI's impact there seems complicated.
It is. Tools like ChatGPT are definitely surging in classrooms. Big institutions like Cal State, universities in Canada, they're expanding access. But it immediately sparks that debate, How do you balance the innovation potential with ethics, plagiarism risks? It's a tough needle to thread.
A conversation we're really just starting to have properly.
On the plus side, though, there are reports like the one from primary schools in Liverpool. They saw significant grade improvements after bringing in AI software from Century Tech. Apparently, it also helps streamline the teacher's workload, freeing them up.
It's a concrete benefit.
And for accessibility, India's NCERT, their National Education Council, is partnering with UEducate to roll out AI-powered digital textbooks. They have multimedia features, translation. It could make quality education much more accessible, especially in remote areas.
That sounds incredibly promising. Now, switching gears to the creative side, generative content. It feels like that space is just exploding.
It really is. Higgsfield's Draw to Video lets you make videos from images, text, even product shots. And some ex-Meta founders launched Everlyn.ai, aiming for next-gen video generation.
The tools are getting powerful fast.
And it's not just video, is it? World models.
Right. DeepMind's Genie 3 got a lot of buzz. It can generate fully playable, simple virtual worlds just from a single text prompt. It really shows how these learned world models could totally change content creation, interactive experiences.
Generating game levels on the fly.
Potentially, yeah. Or simulations, training environments. And then MagicPath unveiled real-time stateful React UI generation. It actually assembles user interfaces live as you interact.
So you describe what you want, and it builds it in front of you. Kind of, yeah. It's closing that gap between idea and interactive product incredibly quickly.
It's no surprise then that, 80% of content creators are apparently using generative AI tools already?
Right. Streamlining tasks, cutting costs, scaling outreach.
Wow.
It's fundamentally changing the business side of digital creativity. Look at May2. Their profits jumped 71%, largely thanks to AI features.
But that surge also brings up those ethical questions again, right? Authenticity, transparency.
Exactly. That whole debate around AI-generated influencers, like in those Nexon ads, it really forces us to ask what real even means online, especially when these creations are designed to persuade or sell.
It's a tricky area. Okay, so AI isn't just for big business or pros. It's filtering down into our personal lives, making things easier or more accessible.
Yeah, lots of examples. Google Gemini for Google Docs now lets you generate and listen to audio versions of your documents. Big win for accessibility.
Good.
Google Translate is getting an upgrade too. Gemini-powered advanced translations are coming, starting with English, Spanish, and English, French, promising better accuracy. And they're adding an interactive practice mode for language learning.
So taking on apps like Duolingo.
Seems like it, yeah. And for travel planning, Google Flights is using generative AI now. You can just describe your ideal trip in plain English. I want a beach vacation in Europe in July under $2,000, and it gives you customized flight options.
That's handy. Where's that available?
Initially, US, Canada, and India. And speaking of accessibility, OpenAI launched a budget ChatGPT Go plan in India. It's only like $4.60 a month. Plans to expand globally, making powerful AI much more affordable.
Interesting move.
We're seeing it in wellness, too. 8 Sleep raised $100 million to speed up development of their AI-driven sleep optimization products, like smart mattresses that adjust based on your sleep data.
And even finance.
Yep. Robinhood launched Digests by Robinhood Cortex in the UK. It uses AI to generate plain language explanations for why stock prices are moving, trying to make financial insights easier for everyday investors to grasp.
So, okay, we've seen the foundations evolving, the applications spreading everywhere. What does this all mean for the big picture? What are the market signals, the risks we need to watch, the sort of long-term trajectory here?
This really brings up that critical question, doesn't it? As AI gets woven deeper into everything, how do we, look past the hype, deal with the real risks, and actually prepare for what's coming?
Well, looking at the market, it's kind of wild. OpenAI is apparently eyeing a $500 billion valuation in its next internal stock sale. That's just a staggering number.
It is, and yet you have CEO Sam Altman simultaneously warning about a potential AI investment bubble even while he's pushing plans for these massive data center expansions.
It's a strange mix, isn't it? Warning of a bubble while building like crazy.
It really highlights that tension. Speculative excitement versus the real cost of building the underlying infrastructure. We've also seen some tools just explode in growth. Grok reportedly surged over 1.3 million% in users, making it the #2 AI tool globally.
Incredible growth, and globally.
India is definitely becoming an AI VC hotspot, especially for developer tools. And China's daily use of AI tokens, basically a measure of computation, has apparently rocketed up more than 300-fold in just 18 months. The pace there is intense.
But that incredible growth, it has a shadow side, right? The ethical and safety issues seem really urgent now.
Tragically so. That case involving a death linked to AI therapy using a ChatGPT-based therapist, it's just heartbreaking. And it's intensified calls for urgent safety standards and proper oversight for AI and mental health. This isn't theoretical risk anymore.
Absolutely devastating. And the concerns extend to kids, too.
Yeah, companies like Meta and Character.ai are facing scrutiny because they've promoted some AI applications as therapy tools for children. That raises huge red flags about safety, suitability, and the lack of regulation for such vulnerable users.
That's deeply concerning.
Plus, you have things like the privacy lawsuit against Otter. They're accused of recording calls without getting consent from everyone on the call and then using that data to train their AI. These kinds of incidents really hammer home the need for responsible development and, frankly, just clear user consent.
Yeah, that recording issue would worry a lot of people. Okay, on the flip side, productivity potential. There was that OpenAI scientist proposing McCloud's law.
Right, projecting that AI systems could cumulatively deliver something like 113 million years worth of work by 2050. It's just a mind-boggling amount of potential output.
But is that potential being realized smoothly?
Not quite. Experts are warning that as these AI agents move into real production environments, the complexity and the risks are actually rising faster than the reliability. There's a gap.
And there's that disconnect with ROI, too.
Yeah, another MIT finding. It suggests 95% of organizations are seeing limited return on their AI investments so far. Why? Often top-down adoption that doesn't fit workflows, prompts that are too brittle and break easily, and just weak practices for evaluating and integrating the AI properly.
But it's not just the tech, it's how it's being implemented.
Precisely. It's about the integration, the processes around it.
And finally, there's the whole cybersecurity angle.
Oh, yeah. A full-blown arms race. Cybercriminals are using AI to automate attacks, find vulnerabilities faster. Defenders are using AI to strengthen defenses, detect threats quicker. It's this constant escalating competition. Puts pressure on everyone just to keep up.
It really underscores that dual-use nature of AI, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Powerful tool, but can be used for good or ill. Requires constant vigilance.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Wow. Okay, what an incredible sweep through the current state of AI.
Right.
We've touched on so much, the sheer depth of the technical breakthroughs in models, agents, infrastructure, and then the breadth of its impact, transforming healthcare, education, creativity, work.
It's moving on all fronts simultaneously.
It really is. And it's crystal clear there's this immense potential for progress, but also these really significant ethical hurdles and practical challenges that seem to be popping up faster than we can figure out solutions sometimes.
That dual nature again. Massive opportunity matched by significant responsibility.
So thinking about all this, the incredibly rapid spread of AI tools, from these super specialized research agents to creative toys to even things being pitched as personal therapists, and this whole shadow AI economy where usage is outpacing official strategy, what really stands out to you about this moment? How do we collectively, as individuals, as organizations, how do we navigate this? How do we handle the responsibility of vetting these tools, integrating them thoughtfully, maybe even regulating them without stifling the very innovation that could bring so many benefits?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
It really is. A lot to think about as we move forward into whatever this new era holds.